Welcome. You are listening to The Culture Climate on the Sister Speak Show. I am your host, Sister Speak. The Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Sister, spiritual inspiration shared through the arts. Sister, spiritual inspiration shared through Ayana, but you better call me Sister Speak. How are you? It's maybe about 79 degrees in the DFW. And I just want to say, I thank you for adding us to your listening shuffle. Thank you for letting us be the flavor in your ear. We do consider ourselves to be one of the dopest podcasts in podcasting. Notice I didn't say the, I said one of the. You got to remain true, and you have to remain solid. Don't ever let your head get too big, because you know Humpty Dumpty did have a great fall. Welcome once again to my first-time listeners. Just a small orientation. This entire network is rated R for strong content, language, and thoughts. You will also need water when you listen to every episode, as well as your scuba gear. You will also need your entire warrior armor for the spiritual warfare, because on this show, we have no lily pads, we only have warriors. And the warriors on this show mount up on wings like an eagle. Come on, somebody. This is a network that you're going to enjoy listening to. The things that you cannot say, we will. The thoughts that you have, we probably have them too. It's about a high vibration on the Sister Speak Show. That's the entire ambiance, the essence of this entire podcast. So, without further ado, you are listening to The Culture Climate on the Sister Speak Show, The Culture Climate, where we cover what others are afraid to cover in the village. Controversial conversations, taboo subject matters, focusing on the inner me's, exposing the enemies, as well as local, national, and international news clips concerning all shades of brown people in the village. That's what it's about. Are you ready? I know you are. Tonight's episode on the Culture Climate: sex education, admissions of guilt, sex scandals on college campuses. Now, some might say, well, why didn't you put this on the suspense files? Because I didn't want to. This is a culture climate topic, best believe. And we're going to get into it. But I do want to thank my faithful listeners and all of you all who keep downloading my episodes. Every single country. I see your countries. I see the cities. And I know you're listening. I know you're supporting. And I thank you. You're chosen to listen. Now, if you are an enemy, or if you're coming here to be low vibrating, you got the right one. And I am your curriculum. You will leave defeated. You will not stand a chance. So if you were sent here thinking that you are going to do whatever you think you're going to do, thank you. I need some practice. Okay? I need a sparring partner every now and again. Thank you. Not give you buck. Okay, brothers and sisters, you can already see what we're going to do what we're going to be doing this evening. We're going to be getting into it. Okay, let's focus, and let's just understand that I will be ruffling feathers, and there will be attitudes, and there may be some people who do not agree with what I say. I don't care, because I am telling it like it is, and I'm using the sword of truth. I am delivering the mail. This is my assignment. I don't apologize for my assignments. I do them, I turn them in, praying that I please the Most High God, because I have been delivered from being a people pleaser. And when you are delivered from being a people pleaser, you are able to walk boldly, courageously, and with an assurance that you are on the right path. You don't have to ask people what do they think. You don't have to get advice from people. You don't have to factor in or tally in the thoughts of others. You are on an assignment, and you must do it. And if you stop to think about what others will say or what others will think, or be afraid or intimidated by a group of people, you're not a warrior, and you will never mount up. You will always stay on the ground. You'll be a centipede for the rest of your life. So when you come to the Sister Speak show, this is a show where you're going to hear what needs to be said. This isn't a show that you're going to walk away feeling worse than you already felt, unless that's just what it was meant to do. You know, my projection is high vibrating energy and encouragement and a panacea for us to understand that even if we are vibrating low, that we do have the ability to vibrate high, and we can come out of our toxic behaviors. But if you choose to stay toxic, then I'm on your head for the rest of your life, because what you're saying is, I don't want to be a part of the village in a righteous way. I want to create chaos and havoc, and I want to bring Satan to show and tell because he's my daddy, or to, career day because this is who I work for. Like, I'm just saying, we will not tolerate the fuckery in the village. There it is, rated R for strong content and language. And we have a right to say, no, you can't do that. What many people who have principalities working through them need to understand is this: you don't super rule. So because you don't super rule, and because you're not almighty, why am I wasting my time with you again? Why would I even consider a grain of what you say or what you try to do? Because I know that you don't super rule. So once you get into that warrior mentality and you have that helmet of salvation on, and you're able to use your shield of faith and the sword of truth to combat what once dominated you in your thoughts. Some of us are being delivered from being not only, like I said, codependent, but being dependent thinkers based on what others say. And your actions are depicted based on you wanting to please other people, although your soul is telling you, no, don't go that way, don't do this. So I have matured and transformed and graduated into a level of, I will never let anyone dominate me and take away from me who I am, or water it down for anyone. And I would like to encourage you not to ever let anybody water down who you are. Now, yes, we drink water, but we're not going to let anybody just saturate us with their projections of filth and toxins and pollutants to where we are aborting our missions as light workers, as the ones who have been chosen. A lot of us right now are at a crossroads where we are really trying to decide which way to go, how to go. And we know that there is going to be some carnage left as a result of us deciding to walk away from chaos, choosing to remove the shrapnel inside of us and wanting to come out of what we've been in. And I don't know anybody I don't know anybody in their right mind, or who wants to be put in their right mind, that would tell Jesus, no, I don't want to be healed. I mean, when he was walking the earth, Yeshua, when he was walking the earth, the Most High God was walking this earth, people were lowering their family members or friends in to be healed. There were people gathered. People wanted desperately to be healed, and he healed who he chose to heal, but he is a healer. And so if the Lord tells you, I want to heal you, or decides to heal you, why would you say no thank you? Why would you say, I'm good staying pitiful? I'm good staying toxic. I'm good being in the gutter. Why would you say, no, I want to stay withered? No, I want to stay blind. No, I want to be deaf. Why would you even use your free will to exercise a curse over your life permanently? So you're telling him that, no, I don't want to touch your fringes. I don't want to be healed. I literally want to stay in this cemetery and allow Legion to take me out. And you can apply Legion to your life and say, what are the legions in your life, whether they be people, places, or things that you need to get rid of? And if the Lord comes to you, or when he comes to you and says, it is your time, I'm going to set you free, I'm taking over your life, you mean to tell me you're not going to make that U-turn? You mean to tell me the 180 is not even a possibility? You mean to tell me you're not going to stretch forth your withered hand so your hand can be made whole? What is withered in your life right now that you need to be made whole, and you are saying, no, I'd rather stay withered? Because you cannot be a warrior and be withered. You can be a warrior that was once withered, but you cannot opt to stay that way. How does that work? It doesn't. Don't even try to pull out a calculator and even try to figure out. There's no type of arithmetic on this earth that could ever make that make sense. You cannot opt to stay withered. So on this specific network, we are all about saying, stretch forth your hand and be made whole. We are about saying, look, okay, you were in this, but come out of that. And we will expose what needs to be exposed if it is, in order for it to be healed. You can put a Band-Aid over the cut, but some cuts need stitches. So you're going to have to take that Band-Aid off, look at the wound, take the wound to the doctor, and have the doctor deal with the wound so it can be healed properly. Come on, somebody. Some of you have Band-Aids on your life right now, and if you pull back the Band-Aid, you need stitches because you're open, you're broken, you're exposed. And the more you're exposed, the more infected you become. And when you're infected, you're out your mind. Anybody who has specifically a urinary tract infection and it goes untreated, you can lose your mind. Anybody who has syphilis and catches it, it has different stages. If it reaches the 4th stage, it hits the mind. You're out your mind. And that's where the enemy attacks. So what we're saying is, look, there's the wound. We all have fallen, scraped, bruised, bumped. We know what it is. And we're saying, you've got to get that treated. Why are you mad because someone is saying to you, you have to get that treated? You act like that treatment isn't a common treatment that many people need. Too much pride, too much arrogance, too much vanity. You're going to stay withered for the rest of your life because pride, arrogance, and vanity are gangsters. They're gangster principalities. And they're the reason why so many people now are in a decrepit state because of those things right there. People pleasers. You are a people pleaser because you would rather stay withered because you don't want people to see you showing that you need healing. But everything that you do vibrates that you need healing. You act like your toxic behaviors are not on display for everybody to see. I mean, this is who we are as people. The self-examination is real. So I'm going to hit on things that may affect you deeply and good. Because if you listen to my tone, my intent, and my purpose, you understand that I come from a place of actually caring. I don't cremate my cares. I don't abort my missions. I've been away from this microphone for a year based on trials and tribulations, fuckery, and all kind of just everything, as you all know, because you're listening to the shows beforehand. So for me to be right here, I'm telling you, I've had to do this work myself, and I will continue to do the work. I'm in Nineveh. I'm not in the belly of the well anymore. I'm not in the boat with the people who threw me over because I had something on me. I'm just telling you, I'm here in Nineveh, and many of you are needing to get to Nineveh. What is she speaking about? Read the book of Jonah. Read it and liken it into your spiritual life. Put your scuba gear on when you read the book of Jonah. And if you don't think a whale can't swallow a man, I need you to Google that, because a whale can. And a whale has. A whale recently took somebody in their mouth. True story. Man on the ocean, on a board, with a paddle, standing up, and the whale came up and said, "Come here. I want to talk to you for a minute." Now, me, because I'm able to add some things together, I'm not going to be on a board with a paddle in the ocean for any reason. There's nothing in my life that says this is what you need to do. But when you are there, these are the elements that you're exposed to. And the whale came up and put him in his mouth. So we cannot say that this did not happen. It happened. I believe it. I don't argue about things. I don't sit and debate about things. When my soul knows right well, that's just what it is. And I'm not here to convince you to make me be unconvinced. You stay where you're at if that's what you choose not to believe. And I want to ask you, how's your life going for you? But you're probably the same person that used to put your tooth underneath the pillow because you thought the tooth fairy was coming. How is it that our people can believe in the tooth fairy, the Easter bunny, okay, celebrate Halloween, Santa Claus, and all this other type of stuff, and believe all this other stuff? But when you talk about the matters of the heart, and you talk about these real things that have happened, oh, I don't really know about that. Okay, cool. That's on you. That's on you, baby. Shout out. That's on you. You feel me? So anyway, moving forward, brothers and sisters, I want you to be encouraged. And I want you to understand that you don't make apologies for your mission. You don't make apologies. You go forth and you tell what you need to tell. So that's why we have the culture climate, because we're going to have these conversations. If you don't want us to have the conversations, then curb the behavior that creates the chemical spills in our village. Moving forward, as I mentioned, tonight's episode, sex education, admissions of guilt, sex scandals on college campuses. Of course, tonight's episode will be accompanied by video. And these videos are to raise awareness. Some would say for entertainment purposes only. I say to raise awareness for educational purposes only, to teach, to curve the behaviors that are manifesting and affecting so many people. There's nothing wrong with wanting to show why we could do better and how we can do better. It's not to go off and stay off. It's to go off about it, and then it's a tough love energy, okay? That's what that is, because I know my people in the village have the ability to vibrate high, and we are powerful. We are superior. And there's no reason why we cannot do the energy work, do the clearing, what we need to do in order to be better people. And if you're mad because somebody wants you to be better, then you really have a lot of energy clearing to do. Okay, let's get into it. When it comes to, well, you know what? 14 minutes in, I'll be right back after this commercial break. This is your regular routine. What's different than any other day? You're not even thinking about the fact that there's pain behind the pleasure that you're seeking. The latest episode of Coming to the Stage on the Sister Speak Show is available on demand now. Rated R for strong content, language, and thoughts. On this episode, pornography, behind the scenes, the price of pleasure, contracting STDs, and quitting the industry. On Coming to the Stage, we're covering theater, TV, and film. Click the link in the bio for the latest episode on the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. There's a price to pay. Can you afford it? The season of you being prey has come to an end. Family, friend, foe versus your freedom. What are you going to choose? The latest episode of the Vent Session on the Sister Speak Show is available on demand now. Episode 2, Stop Being Weak. We're covering haters in your life. Why are they howling at you? Car chases. Let me out the car. This doesn't taste good. Where's the original recipe? Protecting adulterers. Why are your people scandalous? Rent, utility, and food relief. Learning how to ask for help and people who don't help. The Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Click the link for the latest episode. Warriors, mount up and be encouraged. Welcome back. You are listening to The Culture Climate on the Sister Speak Show. I'm your host, Sister Speak. How you feeling? How you doing? First of all, I apologize for being rude. I'm trying to focus on this microphone, only bumping 3 times. I'm trying to get the bump down to at least 3 times. We got some changes on the way. We definitely have some changes on the way. Cheers. The water break. Come on, y'all. Get your water. Everybody have your water. I'm not playing. Get your water. All right. Cheers. Drink up. Cheers. Got to get that mind clear. You want to be able to reflect. You have to give your brain and the rest of your organs the gas that it needs in order to function. You can't go to the function if you can't function. Come on now. And as I move forward, I do want to say, in conclusion, I am careful about what I put out, right? Now, your definition of careful and mine are different. Okay, I got a boldness with my careful. But I have to say this. I recorded the vent session. I had another episode that I recorded 2 days ago. And I listened to all my episodes. And I didn't put it out. Well, why not, Sister Speak? I went a little bit too hard in the paint. And I know how to go hard and not be hard for 4 hours. Okay? So it was cool in the beginning, but then when I got to the end, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to put this one out. This one is not going to make the cut. Yeah, I'm going to have to bring this one on down about 3,000 degrees. I was recording it in the middle of a mountain that was erupting. I was coming out with the lava. I was just like, is that Ayana? Is that Sister Speak in the lava? Talking? Is she recording her show in the lava? And furthermore, no, I just... It was too much. I couldn't. It wasn't too much. I think it was just more for me to get it out. I think I was the one who needed to listen to the episode. I did the episode for me. It's private. Y'all, that episode was... if I put it out, y'all have to pay for it. That's how serious. Oh, ooh. Yeah, couldn't put that episode out. I still have it, but we're just gonna keep that in the vault. And just record it again. I had to clutch my pearls. I was Ayana. I had to call myself my name. That's not Sister Speak. That's Ayana. No, but anyway, y'all. Moving forward, it's all about knowing what type of entertainment you want to put out, and you don't want it to be reckless. You want to make sure that it's not reckless. All right, so moving forward, when it comes to tonight's topic, sex education, admissions of guilt, sex scandals on college campuses, I had to do my digging, because a lot of times when it comes to these type of sex scandals, there's a lot of money that is paid to make the victims or the case kind of go away. A lot of settlements and things of that nature, but the scandals still exist, and there are people who are affected by it. And there are, as I mentioned, if it's not exposed or reported, the abuse, the scandal, or whatever has happened within the scandal, you won't have the news. You just won't know about it. It'll be that type of conversation that's like low conversation at the place where it took place. It's kind of one of those hush-hush type things. But for the ones that are not on the hush-hush, well, I was finally able to find it. And because I have an international listening audience, my goal is to make sure that I can find clips that are international. As I mentioned, the culture climate is about audio clips, local, national, international, affecting the village. So I wanted to learn more about college campuses, universities that have sex scandals. And immediately, you think of, obviously when you're saying sex scandal, you already know that there's going to be the act of fornication. People are having sex. But the scandal part of it is where the investigative journalism comes in, and where you want to know, well, what is happening in the village, and what's the source of the scandal, and how can we fix it, right? How do we find a way to get rid of it? And a lot of times you just have to expose it in order to get rid of it. You have to bring the attention that is needed in order for, let me turn this up just a little bit, give it the type of attention that it needs in order for it to go away, right? You just have to do it. If you don't admit it, then sometimes, you may have a period of time where you feel like you're getting away with it. But the sex scandals that I was able to find out deal with a range of reasons why it became a sex scandal. And the topics deal with grades in exchange for sex, good grades, passing grades, making it, surviving out of a class with a grade that you may not have deserved. And then you deal with the sex scandals that deal with college recruitment of athletes. And then you deal with the sex scandals where there are sexual assaults on campus. And a lot of times, as I mentioned, sometimes the scandals are covered up, and then other times they're exposed. So after doing my research and watching videos and just listening to what was going on, I narrowed it down, because one specific scandal took place in Africa, in Ghana, and I believe the other place was, well, it'll come up because I don't want to throw the name out there. But let me see, did I write it down? No, I didn't. But, from Ghana all the way to Florida, it's happening. And excuse that noise. And that's my notification. But it's happening. And it's happening in a way that all parties involved are getting caught up. But the damage, right? We're talking about the damage and the behaviors, and just not realizing that here you are entering into a college and you're not university, and you're not expecting to encounter a sex scandal. That's not something that I believe anybody wants to ever be caught up in. People want to be caught up in the sex, but not the scandal aspect. But a lot of times the sex that you're having is scandalous, regardless if it is a scandal or not. In that regard, it's always going to be a scandal in the spirit aspect if it's not being done right. You already know what show you're listening to. But moving forward, so here it is, you're in school and now you are being propositioned, or you're being, feeling led because of the pressures of whether the pressures are coming from home or just the own pressures that you're putting on yourself, especially if you're an overachiever, to maintain a 4.0 or to stay on the dean's list, to be on the honor roll, or just to pass. And because you are not able to fulfill the requirements needed in the class, you feel the pressure to try to do something to make it out. And it's not just you. You know, you may have a professor who is eyeing you and may be interested in you. But because of the rules, it has to become something that's a sneaky link. And sometimes there are professors who abuse their power and will say, I will fail you if you do not give this to me. And depending on where you live and the type of laws that are or are not in place, and the type of support groups that are or are not in place, you may be defenseless against this predator. Now, it may not be that situation. It may be that you like money and you like sex, and this is the perfect thing for you to get caught up in, where you are sleeping with college recruits in order to bait them to come to the university or college to play on the sports team. This might just, mix with a little bit of hoe, right? Some people take a backpack to school. You take your hot pocket to school. And wherever there's a microwave, you're going to heat it up. And this is your gig. This is what you do. You're using your body to get, potential college athletes to come and play. And now you're in a prostitution sting because it got leaked. A lot of times you'd be surprised who is even behind this, because the accolades that they have, the resume that they have is amazing, right? They have all of these things on here. And so a lot of times we associate the resume and we're like, there's no way that this person could ever do this. You don't even think this things, but all the while that resume is a beard, or they're taking the resume, which should be used for a righteous, exposure of who they are and what they've done. They're using it as a beard, to where people would never think that they would be involved in a prostitution ring on a college or university campus. That people would go so low to have dividends and funds coming in to get that guap, to where, hey, let's come up with a prostitution ring where we can lure them in with sex, and that way we can add more funds to the campus and we can put our school on the map using sex as a weapon. It's a common thing. And the thing about it is, whether you, if you have listened to the last episode of The Culture Climate, when I was speaking about hazing and death before degree, what do you think this is? This is still a death before a degree, because it's a spiritual death before the degree. It's me having to sleep with you in order for me to get an A, or in order to keep my GPA high. And sometimes the college professors can prey on the students who, are extremely anal about maintaining a certain GPA, and they could prey upon that pressure that the student puts on himself or herself and say, I will give you an F and fail you if you do not perform fellatio on me. See, F don't stand for failure in some classes. It stands for fellatio. A don't stand for, all right, you did it. A stands for ass. B stands for butt. C stands for, y'all can figure out the rest. These professors have a different understanding of what the letters in the alphabet are. So, it is a pressure to want to pass. There's not anybody who goes to school that doesn't want to pass, because if you don't pass, you fail. Duh. And we have all been in school. We know what school is like. Some of us liked it, some of us didn't. Now, I had no problem doing school work. I just didn't like going to school because I did not like being in that environment with those energies, because the energies that I particularly went to school with, not all, but some, they were just demonic. And the pressures of going to school. You already know what it is. You know your story, what it was, what it wasn't. Either you were in the crowd that was popular and evil, or you were in the crowd that was, or you were not in the crowd. You know who you were in high school, we all know this. Forget your social status. When you sat your ass down in that school desk, and you had your books or whatever, you know the type of student you were. You know whether or not you turned in your work or not. You know whether or not you actually handled your business. You know what your grades were and where they were not. But you know one thing, that if you didn't pass, your ass was staying behind a grade, Or if you were in the risk of not going to the next grade, you had to go to summer school, or you had to do extra credit. There was some type of extra performance that you had to put in order for you to get to the next grade. Because how embarrassing is it if you are 16 and still in the 5th grade? Now, at some point, I'm just saying, what sense does it make to be 23 and in the 10th grade? Right? So you know that you have to progress. And here it is where you have to perform. I'm teaching, you have to do the work. And if you don't do the work according to my standards and the standards of the school district and whatever this curriculum is requiring of you, you will fail. And if you don't show up, you will fail. So however you made it out of high school, you made it out of high school, right? 12 years for most of us, which was 12 years of fuckery. My best day of high school, the best day of high school for me, I will always say was the last day. Finally, out of here. I went to junior college, got out of that, graduated from Cal State Hayward, got my BA in speech communications, and I will not look back. Now, Yana, Sister Speaker, you saying that we should not further education? I'm saying you can further whatever you want to further. There is no more gas for me. All of my education is coming from life experiences, reading, studying, and seeking knowledge on my way of doing it. I will never put myself in that position again because of the mountain that I had to climb. So that's, once I got to the valley, that was it for me. And I understand the pressures of having to do your grades, get these reports in, and some stuff you're just like, this is too much. And that's where you deal with plagiarism, okay? The pressure to plagiarize, the pressure to have somebody write your paperwork for you, cheating, right? You have cheating scandals that go on. There are so many academic scandals that take place because people just want to pass and get on with their life. And the pressure to pass, depending on whatever subject matter you are taking, is a lot. And if you have 7 classes, 8 classes, or how many credits you're taking, that is overwhelming. Not only that, you're working a full-time job. Not only that, you have other issues going on in your life. And I was listening to Trap Boy Freddy's interview, and he said something that stuck out to me. He said there's a difference between being distracted and the distractions. And that's heavy. There are distractions, but you have a choice on whether or not you're going to be distracted. Shout out to you, Trap Boy Freddy, because that was wisdom right there. I can take that and I can apply that to my life and say, wow, I can look back at the times where I allowed my distractions to distract me. Dang it. It's a versus. Thank you for that, Trap Boy Freddy. Appreciate that. So wherever you are in school, especially in college or high school, whatever, the pressure to perform and get out is real. Excuse me. And social issues are the social pressures that go on in school, just having to survive that and adapt and adjust. It's real in the field. And some work that you get, and don't let it be a test. I understand we have to go through tests, right? Spiritual tests. But specifically, when you have to take an academic test, there is an anxiety that comes over some people. And you may know all of your stuff, but then when you sit down and get to it, you're like, oh, yeah. How much time we got again? You start moving your neck around like you got neck cramps, trying to survey the room and see what the pressure is like for everybody else. And it look like everybody else is good. And you over here like, yikes, right? You over here like, Jesus, be a lifeline. Jesus, be a memory. I remember studying this, but for some reason, the way that the questions that you ask, and I'm like, do I need Rosetta? What is this written in? Is this in Braille? What is number 1? Are you okay, Sister Speak over there? I'm great. Yeah, I'm cool. Have you gotten started? Look, MC Hammer. let's get it started and applying to everybody today. Because number one, if you really want to know, number one, like the way you even wrote this is bullshit right here. Like this, what is number one? I can't tell you that. Well, neither can I. So if you can't tell me and I can't tell you, why are you asking me this question? Yeah. I'm just saying, tests produce anxiety for some people, and you could know the information and still get an F on the test. And now, if you're in college, depending on where you are, you may have a professor that says, well, we can fix that F. You know what F stands for? And you're like, you know, you don't even want to answer the question. French fries? What? What does it stand for? Fritos? What? Fuck, I'm in trouble? Like what? Like, what does it stand for? You want to know what this F stands for? It stands for you can fix it. Well, how can I fix it? Meet me after class. I want to see you after class. The pressure. You could know the information and still fail. All the STAR testing, planet testing, all the tests that they have out here, all of the things, all of the pressure to show that you have this knowledge that they have taught you. And it's just too much. And so that too much is what leads into some people feeling the pressure to sleep with their professor in order to get a good grade. And it also, the pressure is manufactured in order to make somebody bust and feel like that's what they need to do. Praying on your pupil. With your pupils. It's real in the field. Some of you right now have your own college story. Some of you may have even been the victim of this type of incident. Some of you may have even participated in this incident, but you've changed your ways. You realize that that wasn't the swag, and you've repented, right? But for those of you who are still caught up in it and don't want to change, and you like what's going on, you are adding marks by your name. Remember when we used to get in trouble in school and they would put your name right up there on the board? And if you was having a real rough day, if you was just all the way up against it in class, like you you wasn't doing shit right. It's just every second your name was getting called. And you have checks by your name. That doesn't mean you're verified. No, them checks means that your ass is staying after class. This means that you're going to have a note written home to your mother about your performance for the day, or your father or your guardian, whoever raised you and was supposed to sign the note. It was then that you learned how to forge signatures. I remember getting a progress report one time where everything was good, but they just kept saying I kept talking too much. Now listen, look what I'm doing. I was getting exercise. Babies have to cry in order to stretch their lungs. I had to talk in class in order to stretch my mouth, my gifts, and prepare myself for what I'm doing now. I can gasp for a long time. If I had not been talking in class, I would not have had the athletic endurance that I needed through my tongue in order to speak, and my vocal cords and my diaphragm and the rest of what I do. I was training. Why are you trying to stop me? But anyway, yes, I did learn how to forge my father's initials. Now, it was not necessarily the best job, but when you grow up with Major William as your father and with Avis as your mother, yeah, you're going to probably try to forge that just because the shit is real. My parents, no joke at all. So I understand. Like, I know some of you have forged. There are some parent-teacher conferences your parents didn't even know that they were supposed to show up to. This is like, we want to meet with your mother. This is not going to go on any further. This note is going home. Some notes have disintegrated in gutters. No, I'm not getting in trouble. So we all know the anxieties and what it is to be in school. But college campuses have some scandals going on, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the pressure to perform, and how sex scandals are not only affecting individuals, but collective groups as well. So, two things I want to do. Let me pull out this. Okay, microphone, don't bump. There we go. Well, if it bumped, oh well. Let me make sure I find this because I have a new journal where I am writing all of my notes. Here we go. And I should be able to find it in here. I just need to give a shout out to my playlist so they won't feel like I am not giving them their music credit. I thank y'all for listening. Drink some water. You'll be okay. Drink some water. Now, have you ever been looking for something and just automatically start blaming people for stealing shit and there ain't nobody to steal it, but you still blaming them? That's what's going on right here. I feel like I need to blame somebody. I was about to go in. Tonight's playlist includes Juba Beats, Alvin Brown Beats, Danny Beat Tracks, Martell Beats, Masked Bandit Beats, 30 Hertz Beats, and Homage Beats. That's the playlist that's playing in the background. Shout out to you all for creating those beats, and shout out to me for taking the time out to put it together. Okay, you're going to be listening to some news clips this evening that raise awareness about sex education, admissions of guilt, sex scandals on college campuses. The following platforms on YouTube have provided this information: Plus TV Africa, TVC News Nigeria, ABC News, HU News Service, WSAV3, and Young Black World. Now, let me explain something to you about Young Black World. I really wanted to, as I was listening, not include it. So, and the reason why is because it cut off. It just cut off. It was only 2 minutes of it, and I wanted to hear more. So literally, it just cuts off. But it also raises awareness because I wanted you to hear something personal about a college student who has experienced a professor that was a predator, okay? So this is obviously to raise awareness about sex scandals on college campuses, the pressure to perform and the pressure to pass, and how we as a village can overcome the energy that is manipulating us and navigating us into where we're doing low vibrating behaviors. Thank you for listening. Y'all mean? Okay, good. Got the clips already queued up. Let me hit this volume. Isn't this beat funky? Ooh. It is top down, nice and foggy on a nice sunny day. Good beats, good vibe. That's what it's about. Okay, let's go, and I'll see you on the other side of this clip. Thank you for being a wonderful listening audience and listening to The Culture Climate. Ugh. The Culture Climate on the Sister Speak Show. I know that was rubbing against my chest. I apologize.
Thank you for joining us again on TVC News. Well, so much has been happening since the BBC released a documentary exposing the alleged sexual harassment behavior of lecturers at the University of Lagos and the University of Ghana. Well, here in Nigeria, the University of Lagos has shut down the cold room, and that's where lecturers allegedly sexually assault students. And Professor Yao Gampo of University of Ghana has denied all allegations leveled against him.
For many university students, especially in Nigeria, sex for marks scandal is not new. Many students have either witnessed or have someone who has been sexually harassed by a lecturer. Still fresh in the mind is the case of Obafemi Awolowo University student, Monica Osagi, who was involved in the sex for marks scandal with one of the lecturers in the university, Professor Richard Akindele. This latest revelation by the BBC may just be what some victims need to speak out to expose lecturers who are culpable. The BBC a few days ago released a documentary exposing some lecturers of the University of Lagos and Ghana who have over the years harassed students sexually in exchange for marks. Dr. Boniface, a lecturer of the Faculty of Arts in the University of Lagos, was caught on camera harassing the reporter who disguised as a 17-year-old admission seeker. The Pro-Chancellor of the university, Dr. Wale Babalaki, has now announced the suspension of the lecturer over allegations of sexual assault disclosed in the film. The university lecturer, who also doubles as the head pastor of the Foursquare Gospel Church, has also been asked to step down from all ministerial assignments at the church. The church also dissociated itself from Dr. Boniface, saying appropriate measures will be taken against him. The twist to the story is the case of a professor of political science at the University of Ghana, York Yampo, who has vowed to sue the BBC over the documentary. The professor insists he was never involved in the act, and it is just an act by some people to run his name in the mud.
How do I harass it? In our university, we talk about sexual harassment, and when it's happening between a student and his lecturer, where the lecturer has a say or determine an influence in determining her grade and all that. So you want to change somebody's grade, or if you don't allow me to do X, Y, Z with you, I'll fail you or something. That's what we then. But this is the case. The student, when she came here right from the word go, we are like, she wasn't a student. Okay, she wasn't my student. She's not even a student in the university. And so how do you term that? How do I manipulate the grades of somebody who is not even my student and a student of my university? There's calculated effort and attempt by some people to just run my name and image in the mud, maybe if to see whether that would silence me. Well, I've seen my portion of the documentary already, and my lawyers had prepared my suit even long before they aired. We saw the documentary, and so tomorrow morning we'll sue them. Go to court, we'll sue them.
He adds that he has not been engaged in any so-called sex for grace. Although the University of Lagos has ordered that the cold room where lecturers allegedly sexually assault students be shut, students and Nigerians are hopeful that the lecturers and others involved in such acts will be exposed and brought to book. This will ensure that students are safe and can go about their learning without fear of being harassed.
The university lecturers from one of Nigeria's leading universities, the University of Lagos and that of Ghana, have been exposed in the sex for grace scandals as revealed by BBC Africa Eye Team. The 52 minutes long documentary exposed the atrocities committed by lecturers and how female students, those struggling with studies, seeking admission or in search of mentors, are being exploited and harassed sexually. Dr. Boniface Igbenegu from University of Lagos and Paul Butako from University of Ghana were culprits as revealed in the documentary. Dr. Boniface Igbenegu, a senior lecturer in the Faculty of Arts of the University of Lagos and a head pastor of Foursquare Gospel Church, were caught trying to sexually harass the undercover reporter who posed as a 70-year-old girl seeking admission into the university. Meanwhile, the lecturer caught on tape in the BBC investigative documentary exposing the sex for marks scandal at the University of Lagos, Boniface Igbenegu, has been suspended indefinitely by the authorities of the institution. The Vice-Chancellor of the institution, Oluwatoyin Ogundipe, reportedly confirmed the development. Ogundipe said the lecturer has been suspended indefinitely and that a panel will be set up to investigate the issue. The investigation is part of a broader one that uncovers the sex for grade crisis in universities in Nigeria and Ghana. The lecturer, who was the sub-dean of the Faculty of Arts, was caught on camera trying to cajole the undercover 70-year-old student seeking admission at the institution. And the Foursquare Gospel Church has asked Dr. Boniface Igbenegu, a senior lecturer at the University of Lagos, Akoka, to step down from all ministerial assignments. In a statement on Monday by the National Secretary of the Church, Ikechukwu Ubaja, the church dissociated itself from Igbenegu, saying appropriate measures will be taken against him. The associate professor had been filmed making amorous advances at a prospective student of the University of Lagos. The student, who was actually an undercover reporter, had introduced herself to Igbeneghu as an admission seeker. The senior lecturer has shut the door against her and demanded a kiss as he drew her closer to himself. The video had attracted criticisms from Nigerians who demanded that the lecturer be punished. And now with me in the studio to have this conversation about this new development is Tubosun Akeju. Akeju?
Yes.
Yes, reputation manager. Good morning. And now you're a reputation manager. First question will be, what's your reaction to this development, this story that broke yesterday?
Very, very despicable. It's not new, but I'm very happy that something drastic has happened that will be a defining moment in this situation that have existed as long as I know in Nigerian universities, especially.
Sad.
Very sad.
And now, what do you think in your own, secondly, first of all, let's go to the fact that he's been suspended indefinitely by the institution and, of course, by the church where he is a lead pastor. Yeah. Do you think that is enough?
No. It's not enough.
Why so?
Because it's still going to happen. I think certain measures have to be put in place, to stop this menace, to curb it, and I'll list just a few. There has to be almost like a whistleblowing policy that has to be in place, that if a lecturer or someone in a place of power or authority makes certain advances at you, this is how you can discreetly, report this issue. Because one of the problem is, you'd see on social media yesterday, a lot of people started to come and say, oh, this person made these advances at me. Some people that were their friends were surprised and say, oh, that man could make such advances at you. And I think that there has to be what I call, or what is generally known as witness protection, sort of, because one of the reasons people don't come out to, make this allegation is, number one, the shaming that comes with it. A lot of the time, the stigma. Sometimes you can categorically or have empirical evidence to prove that those things happen, and then it becomes a very, very tricky thing. And I also think that lecturers have to be educated. I think that a lot of the time, people, human beings are emotional beings, and some people don't know when they are crossing the red line. And I don't think there's an African problem. I just think people don't know. I was reading the book of the founder of Nike, and he actually dated someone in his class, but he made a decision that he was going to resign from the school. The moment he made the decision to date the person, he started to think about the fact that as a lecturer, I can't date someone in my class. I would have to, resign. But I think life happened, and then work took him out of that role. But people need to understand that if you are actually going to date someone, or you're going to have a relationship with someone, even if it is genuine, there are things you have to do. For example, in companies today, and companies that have very high standards in procurement or procurement rules, there are certain gifts that you cannot accept. There are certain gifts that if they're presented to you, the procedure is that you must declare that a vendor, maybe being a friend or not, has given this thing, has given this gift. There are rules that you cannot accept gifts that are more than a particular value. Constantly, both vendors and staff of some of these companies are constantly educated about these policies, about these rules and regulations, so that there won't be an excuse of, I didn't know. And the benefit of that is, when you educate both the vendors and the staff, the vendors will know not to make inappropriate advances, and the staff will also know that they are not supposed to create any atmosphere where some of those things happen, so that when they happen, it will be equivocally clear that you've crossed the line. I also think that people, we have to see this particular episode to a logical conclusion to set the precedent and deter people. I mean, one of the journalists did say that she dropped out of school. That's someone's life that you could have ruined. That's someone that could have become a problem to the society if things went very, very bad. We have to find a way to ensure that it doesn't stop at suspending indefinitely just a few, because there are loads of them. You would have thought that the the case of the lecturer in OAU will have served as a major deterrent. The man was sentenced to, I think, 6 years in prison or thereabout, but see, we still continue to have, this situation. So I think that, we have to see this to a logical conclusion, have, a system in place that allows people to come out and say it, and then people are more encouraged, to do this. Then lecturers are educated to know when they are crossing the line. The second man on the documentary was almost, it might seem like a trick, as possible as a trick, was asking for a relationship. Sounded a bit genuine, but he had crossed the line, because you are in a place of power. That person you are in a place of authority, and that person does not have that sense of objective mind to be able to make decisions. So you're almost forcing the person. So it's very sad, to see that this thing is really, really happening. And I'm also glad that it has come out like this, because it has been there even before I ever got into the university.
Quite unfortunate. Clearly, there are issues of integrity, like you raised there. So we hope to see the end of this. And still on the matter, former Senate President Bukola Saraki has reacted to an investigation by BBC Africa where 2 lecturers from Nigeria and Ghana were exposed for sex for grades. A senior lecturer at the University of Lagos Faculty of Arts, who is also the head pastor of the Foursquare Gospel Church in Lagos, Dr. Boniface Igbenegu, was one of those exposed in the investigation. Saraki, in his reaction, revealed that he was very appalled by the discovery, while urging the President, Muhammadu Buhari, and Senate President Ahmad Lawan to revisit the sexual harassment in tertiary education institution passed by the 8th Senate. As a father, I am appalled by the actions of lecturers captured in the sex for grade expose. We cannot allow this sort of deplorable behavior to fester. In 2016, my colleagues and I in the 8th Senate passed the Sexual Harassment in Tertiary Education Institution Prohibition Bill to prescribe a 5-year jail term for any lecturer, educationist, or person in position of authority in any tertiary institution in Nigeria found guilty of such conduct. I appeal to the 9th Senate and President Muhammadu Buhari to revisit this bill so that we can implement the institutional reforms necessary to safeguard our children in educational institutions in the country. I also urge the institutions to conduct robust investigations, not only on the accused, but also for all other reports and complaints that come in. We need to believe victims and make institutions safer for our students, he tweeted.
Top college basketball programs in the country. She's speaking out to ESPN's Outside the Lines about the allegations against the University of Louisville team. And ABC's Ryan Smith is here with the story. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Lara. There are 10 to college basketball royalty, an annual fixture at the NCAA tournament with a top-notch coach and a yearly star-studded recruiting class to boot. But now the Louisville Cardinals basketball team under fire with a self-described escort queen alleging shocking details of wooing some of those star recruits with sex.
Side deals were sex, and if they wanted to make extra money, that's what the side deal was. Sex.
This morning, the woman at the center of allegations, the college basketball powerhouse Louisville Cardinals, 3-time national champions, hired female escorts to woo recruits, breaking her silence, sharing lurid details of arrangements she claims were paid for by the team's former director of operations, Andre McGee.
Andre was the one who always had the money, passed out the money, made it rain, made the deals, paid for the deals.
Speaking exclusively to John Barr of ESPN's Outside the Lines, the self-proclaimed Madam Katina Powell penning a book breaking Cardinal rules, saying she attended nearly 22 parties between 2010 and 2014, some on in-campus dorms, adding she and several other women, including 3 of her own daughters, participated in sex acts with recruits, team members, and even some of their fathers.
Andre would come to me, tell me what girl the recruit wanted, and I would tell the girl, and she would say her price. I would tell him. He would say, okay, give me the money. That was just it. He would take them into another room, and her and the recruit would do what they did behind closed doors.
The scandal rocking one of the country's top basketball programs. Their coach, 2-time national champion Rick Pitino, initially floored by the allegations.
It almost got me sick to my stomach. I don't believe in any form of cheating at all. To get an advantage with a recruit.
Last week, defiant, telling a packed house of Louisville supporters he abides by NCAA rules.
If there was any wrongdoing, it's a big if, and people have to pay for their crimes, and that's an if. If it happens, we will own up to it.
But Powell questioning what Coach Pitino knew and when he knew it.
4 years, a boatload of recruits, a boatload of dancers, loud music, alcohol, security, cameras, basketball players who came in at will. How could Rick not know?
The scandal sparking separate investigations by both the NCAA and the University of Louisville. Campus police also reviewing the allegations for possible criminal charges. Now, to be clear, Powell says she is not sure whether Pitino knew about the party she claims McGee arranged. She says she never met with or talked to Pitino. Our sister network, ESPN, reached out to both the university and Pitino, and they're not commenting, citing respect for the process of the university, NCAA, and criminal investigations. ESPN also saying McGee is declining comment as well.
Yeah, Ryan, and the full story on the Louisville scandal this morning will be on ESPNM.com and on ESPN Sports Center. Quickly, though, Jess, you were a recruited athlete for football. Your perspective on this?
You know, it's amazing what's happened now in college sports. These high school kids are recruited so heavily, and it's so competitive, and different places will go to different extremes to get them, but I've never heard of anything like this. It's just wild story. Unbelievable.
College campuses across the country have made national headlines regarding sexual assault in recent years, becoming a priority in public safety for some states and cities. However, very few schools that make headlines are HBCUs. Is this because it happens less often on these campuses?
Do I think sexual assault is a problem on this campus? Yes.
I do feel like sexual assault is a very prevalent issue on Harris campus. Not necessarily just only Harris campus. I feel like in universities all over.
I mean, I don't know any specific cases, but I'm pretty sure that it's happened before.
Based on a public poll, HBCU students believe sexual assault is a problem on their campuses, even if they believe it occurs as frequently as other schools. After gathering information from individual schools' annual campus security reports, comparing HBCUs to neighboring schools in their area, Howard University had 2 in every 1,000 students report a sexual assault, as compared to Georgetown University only having 1 in 1,000 students. Delaware State University had 3 in every 1,000 students, compared to University of Delaware having 1 in 1,000 students. Florida A&M University had 1 in every 1,000 students, and Florida State University had 1 in every 10,000 students. However, it is known that victims of sexual assault don't report abuse like this Howard University freshman who would prefer to remain anonymous.
I don't necessarily want to because I don't know if he knew the magnitude of what he was doing, if that makes sense, or I don't think he's like a bad person, so I just didn't want to let it get to that point.
Truth be told, sexual assault is a problem on all college campuses. And according to students, the next step is to create better programs for those who are victims. For News Vision, I'm Camille Myrie.
And one of our local officials is one of 6 men charged with pimping and solicitation of sex. That's according to the Macon-Bibb County DA tonight. News 3's Darius Johnson has been following this story for us. Darius.
Trish, Hinesville City Manager Kenneth Howard is one of those 6 men with a warrant out for their arrest tonight. According to the DA, the former Fort Valley State University executive assistant to the president provided a prostitute for each of the men, including Howard. According to the Macon-Bibb County DA, it's been a long road in the investigation of sex allegations at Fort Valley State University.
It was a multi-month-long investigation, and there was sufficient evidence for the judge to issue warrant.
The DA says 6 men are charged with pimping and solicitation of sex stemming from conduct alleged to have happened in 2017 and 2018. Hinesville City Manager Kenneth Howard is one of them, but it's unclear if this was before his time as a Hinesville official. According to the DA, at the forefront of this investigation is the former Fort Valley State University executive assistant to the president, Alicia Johnson. Cook says Johnson is charged with 6 counts of pimping allegations for allegedly providing a prostitute to each of the men, and 6 counts of prostitution on allegations that she performed and offered or consented to perform a sexual act for money.
State University, in this instance, we take the trust of our students extremely seriously. And so we have made a point to aggressively and assertively make sure that we've shared any information possible to make sure that justice will be done.
Cook says Johnson is also charged with conspiracy to commit fiduciary theft after they say she tried to steal scholarship money. And we're told there's a new campus-wide task force tonight on sexual assault and misconduct. There will also be new training for faculty, staff, and students, and WSAV will continue to follow this developing story. Darius Johnson, WSAV News 3.
At Morehouse College, by the name is DeMarcus Cruz, and it got to the point where I went into really bad depression and shit like that, and he started he was kind of trying to force me to come out about my sexuality and shit like that, making advances at me, telling me I need dick, comments and shit like that, right? And he told me, another comment he made was, didn't I tell your bitch ass to text me, if you need anything or anything like that? So these are the comments that DeMarcus made to me. I don't want to go into, detail of what actually happened because this video will be taken forever. But my freshman year, he used to do shit such as hugging me, pinching on my cheeks and shit, just predatory shit like that. So I never told my parents about it. I probably told one or two of my friends about it, and it's really been bothering me. And I just started breaking down crying today because I told Title IX. I reported it the day after. I reported it to Title IX. And Terrain Bailey, and like I said, this was in the beginning of 2018. Terrain Bailey literally was being condescending the whole time, acting like she didn't care. Canceled several meetings with me, never heard anything back from her. Comes to find out she was fired. So that whole semester plus first semester of my sophomore year, I didn't hear anything about it. So the following semester come, and I was just noticing I was smoking more and shit like that, shit that I don't normally do, right? And I was just fed up about the shit. So I talked to my parents about it. And like I said, we live in Chicago. So I called my parents, talked to them about it, and they drove down here within the next week. So we talked to Keisha Buggs, who works in Douglas Hall. And she said that everything would be handled. My parents started breaking down crying and everything. And DeMarcus was...
Only you know the real reason why you created your online dating profile, and sometimes those reasons can prove deadly. The latest episode of The Suspense Files on the Sister Speak Show is available on demand now. Rated R for strong content, language, and thought. On this episode, Dying to Date, Online Dating the Profile Predator. On The Suspense Files, we cover the who, what, when, where, why, in urban crime, including crimes of passion, deadly relationships, mysteries, urban cold cases, and more. I know you're looking for love, but you shouldn't be looking for love in all the wrong places. Click the link for the latest episode on the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Be careful. Now all I need is a Superfly blazer and a pair of shorts for my photo shoot. Sis, have you made any progress? Everything has to be fly. I'm a professional stylist for a reason, sis. I found these two pieces from KK Lachey. They're perfect for your photo shoot. Sitting pics now. Oh, these are lit. Book the look, sis. I ordered the outfit already, sis. Your photo shoot is going to be epic. The summer sale at KK Lachey is going on now. With these looks and more in stock, you're guaranteed to find the look that you need, whether it's for a photo shoot or a day or night out. Shop kklachey.com and get ready. The look, the feel, the vibe. kklachey.com. Welcome back. You are listening to the Culture Climate on the Sister Speak show. I am your host, Sister Speak, and you just listened to the audio clips about sex education, admissions of guilt. I know you also just heard that. Hold on, y'all. See, the enemy does not want this message to get out, but it's going to get out. We're live. There's nothing I'm going to do. I'm not going to edit that. Nothing. We're just going to keep pushing. Go back in. Okay. Haters. Again. That's how you feel? Okay. The message is still going to get out. Hold on, y'all. Sheesh. Keeping it 1,000. But moving forward, you heard the news clips, and I thank you all for bearing with all of that earthquake that just took place. I thank you. But let's just get into it. Yes, you do hear wolves howling in the background because we're going to set the stage for what has obviously already been going on. We're just providing the background music for the effery that has been taking place on these campuses, these universities, internationally as well as nationally. Wolves howling in the background, most definitely. Because this is what is literally going on inside of some of these universities and campuses right now. And these are the sounds of the people who were involved in these clips that we just listened to. Okay? So let me get this on here. That's what that's about. When you walk inside of some of these schools, these are the sounds that you really don't hear, but they're there. You're going there for one thing, and it's something else. You're walking into a classroom for one thing, and it's something else. And these predators are lurking all over. We don't celebrate Halloween. Are all over. And they are seeking whom they may devour. What other sounds could I use to accompany the fuckery that you all have created in the name of education? You have completely perverted the true foundation of education by the low vibrating behaviors. And these behaviors are haunting the village, obviously. And there are victims as a result of your predatory ways. And it is scary. That's why there are scary sounds in the background. Because what we thought we heard versus what we're really hearing and experiencing are two different things, because you really, really sugarcoated it to make it look like this was a university or a college that I needed to come and join. This is where I needed to be admitted to. This is the orientation got me hooked because that's what you were supposed to do. But you have this scandal that you're covering up, and I could potentially be the next victim. And let's just say, let me not even do the hypothetical. There have been victims. There are victims. There are victims right now. And this is what they're encountering. This is what's going on inside of their minds. This is what they're experiencing when they are preyed upon. This is also the energy inside of the minds of those who create prostitution rings in order to recruit athletes to come to your school. This is who you are on the inside. I don't care about your lace front. I don't care about your meave, which is a man weave. I don't care about any type of status. I don't care about what you drive, where you live. I don't care about any of that. What I care about is the plague inside of you at this very moment that is leading you to Hades, Sheol, the lake of fire, or Gehenna, and is pouncing upon my people, which are also your people. Now, not all of these recruits are from the shade, are from the village. Not all of the recruits are all shades of brown, but they're incorporated into the scandal. So we're just going to speak in totality for all involved. The easiest way to bait someone is through sex. We know that. So this ritual of making me feel the need, or these students feel the need to submit to your pornographic obsessions, is asinine and ridiculous, and they don't need to consent, but you're forcing them to because you'll fail them if they don't. That's who you are. So once again, always again, will always be the genesis of everything. What happened in your childhood? I don't want to hear denial. I'm not looking for any type of lily pad answer. These are the real deal Holyfields. There's something off and it needs to be on. The elevator is not going to the top. You are a few sandwiches shy of having a meal. So I'm asking you again, what is going on in the childhood department that you will not deal with? Because until you deal with your childhood traumas, you really shouldn't be in a campus where there are adults. How did a 52-year-old child become the head of whatever department? Why are you taking your power and saying, I am going to use it for wicked intentions? What did you go to school? Why did you become a professor again? Why did you decide to work at a university or college again? Let's just get back to the genesis of when you weren't who you are now. And when did it go wrong? And how did it go left? And how did you end up in this haunted house? Is that what happened? Were you trick-or-treating? Is that where all these demonic beings come from? Because you kept on trick-or-treating. Do your kids still trick-or-treat? Sister Speak, what does this have to do with it? It has everything to do with everything. You know I'm going somewhere. Put on your scuba gear so you won't have to ask questions like that. I'm asking, what went left? Cheers. What went left? So let's get into it. Busted by an undercover investigative journalist who posed as a 17-year-old. The professor demanded a kiss. So imagine. Well, no, I won't even make you be grossed out. You know what professors look like. And 90% of them are just regular. There's no sexual appeal that is really just going to draw you in. You're not even there for that. You're there to do what you got to do so you can get your grade, most of us. So the fact that I would even have to come and then to knock on your door and then you shut the door behind me and I'm encountering principalities and you're demanding a kiss, but you're my professor, allegedly, or could potentially be. I'm just appalled. So what is it? It has to be what we have been discussing on my show, y'all. It has to be the sexual addictions and the hallucinations of being invincible within your power. You have to be hallucinating because you are the same type of energy that would be livid or should be livid if this were your daughter being accosted and solicited with this lewd behavior, the lasciviousness of the lascivious acts. The succubus incubus spirit, y'all, is real. It's everywhere. Anywhere. If it's not banished, if it's not cleared and cleansed, do we not understand that you cannot clear and cleanse just one time and go on skipping through life thinking that everything is all right? The battle is continuous. So clearing and cleansing is something that has to happen all the time. You cannot just say, oh, I conquered this battle, so I can just take off my armor and I don't have to fight anymore. The devil is a liar. You're going to get your ass kicked, and you're going to end up in a situation to where you are being preyed upon by your childhood issues, by addictions. If you're not balanced in your energy, it can happen to where you are demanding a kiss when you should only be demanding that your students do the best that they can do, that they try to retain information, that they be organized. You ought to demand from yourself that you promote education and you teach the curriculum to the best of your ability, that you're finding new ways to make learning exciting, that you are motivating your students to reach beyond what they have experienced growing up, that they can still tap into good, although they may have had some bad occur in their life. You are there as an agent of change, righteous change. You're not there to bust a nut. You're not there to put your mouth on somebody else if they do not want it. And even if they do want it, as you listen to the interview, you're going to have to resign if this is to continue. There's a code of conduct, and the codes of conduct are everywhere. The mores are these unseen rules that we're just supposed to abide by. Excuse me. And, the enemy, I'm telling you. Excuse me. Thank you. And cheers for your patience as I had to hydrate. But the enemy does not look, and that made me get off thought. That is, I cannot stand that. Excuse me. You ought to be demanding from yourself that you vibrate higher, demanding from yourself that you put yourself in a position to where you are a light worker, that you are not a predator. You are making students drop out. Somebody may not want to come to your class anymore. Whether you're a lecturer, professor, whatever you are in the school, if you are using sex as a weapon in order to get something from these students, then this is you. I want you to listen to you. This is what you do. When you wake up, your whole routine, inside of you, this is you. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Let me tell you how you first start off. Every time you talk, this is you recruiting students using sex. Students, let me explain something to you. Now, I want you to hear me very well. You do know what you're doing. It doesn't make it right, but you know what you're doing, and some of you may not. Regardless, the pressure to perform, the pressure to be recruited, the pressure to play, whatever the pressure is that is being put on you by these staff members, you're going to have to vibrate higher. Learning doesn't hurt. To the point where you have to fold. Sex is candy. And many of us are still children in a way that we have not healed. We are addicted to candy. Candy tastes good. Candy's sweet. Candy gets you high. Candy gives you a sugar rush. Oh, candy. Candy Jane. I'm in love with Candy Jane. She's my main thing. Yeah, Candy Jane. One of the coldest to ever do it. Making people fold daily. Luring people in daily. Candy Jane is everywhere. A lot of people smoke Candy Jane. But really, Candy Jane is smoking you. You ever want to know what it feels like to be rolled up in a blunt? You didn't know you was being smoked, did you? You didn't know you was being passed around. You're the blunt. You are a human blunt. Candy Jane is cold. Candy Jane is smoking you. All the while you're addicted to Candy Jane. Sex. It's that candy. And because we are unlearned when it comes to sex, intimacy, we can be trapped and fall into snares that we didn't think that we would fall into. I would like to believe that at least 50% of the village does not want to walk into snares intentionally. And when you do end up in a snare, and you are the one who has been chosen to be delivered, you realize the perils of the snare, and you want to share those perils with others so they don't fall in that snare when you really love thy neighbor as thyself, a true light worker. So the candy is sweet, but it's sour. And it's causing cavities in your life. A lot of you need fillings, root canals in your spiritual life because of the candy. Now, when you look at your graduation photo, you're having flashbacks of how you were addicted to candy. Or you let candy be the reason why you were able to graduate. You had to cheat to get it. Candy. You're over here with this college basketball uniform on because of candy. Are you going to give a shout out to Candy if y'all make it to the NCAA championship? Did you thank Candy when you got recruited? When the draft came up, I didn't hear none of y'all thank Candy. But I know Candy is how some of y'all got drafted in the first fucking place. Rated R for strong content, language, and thoughts. Pardon the pun. Keeping it 1000 with you, though. Candy. So for real got more boldness and more bout-it-bout-it-ness than you, Candy Rain. They say, have you ever loved someone so much you thought you'd die on yourself? Come on, y'all. Candy Rain. Candy Rain recruited you. Yes, Candy Rain. Let's just keep it a buck, can we? It's the hook. It's the bait. It's the lure. Playing on your senses. That's Candy. She didn't sound like that. That's not the voice that I heard. Right. You heard a, hi guys. Hi guys. That's what you heard. You heard, that's right. I'm pleased to meet you. I still won't tell you my name. Her name is Candy Rain. That's right. It's been a long time since I had a man that did it real good. That's Candy. That's Candy Rain. She told you everything you needed to hear. That's what Candy does. She's an escort. So let's just keep it a buck. The lead pastor, not only was he a lecturer, but he was a lead pastor getting back to the scandal in Ghana and the other college and the other universities. He's a lead pastor. He was abusing his power. And a lot of times people like to protect the pastor. The pastor sit up here just skeeting on the whole congregation and we're just going to protect him. The pastor's over here being a all-out pedophile pervert, just doing whatever he wants to do. But that's my pastor. I love him. Don't you dare say nothing about my pastor. I'll kill somebody if they say anything about my pastor. I love my pastor. Look, he's so crazy. Pastor's so crazy. He's so funny. Pastor has a skeeting problem and a cheating problem. And he's over here lecturing, and then he's making people, and then he's trying to lick on people after the lecture. What we're trying to say is there's something wrong with your pastor. And I'm starting to question what's up with you, that you would be led by somebody like this and you don't have the discernment to see what's really going on with him. What is it that he was able to do to glamorize you and to make you believe that he was who he was not? We have got to come out of being in the position where we are allowing wolves to be our teachers, false prophets to be our teachers, people who pervert the gospel, people who are really enemies of the Most High God, lead us to the lake of fire, Gehenna, Hades, and Sheol. And a lot of the people who protect the pastors is you women. It's the women, some women who protect the pastor, and the pastor is preying upon the community in the village. And I have a problem with you all because you sit up here and you worship him like he died at Golgotha. And he's over here preying on somebody who could be your family member. And we can't sit up here and sober up only when it's our family member. We need to be sober and mourn when they mourn, meaning that we need to be aware of the crisis in totality, not in individuality. Yeah, I'm glad that you finally are waking up, but I'm trying to tell you, you should not be shunning somebody else who's going through it. You should be able to say, let's try to do something in prayer about it, and let's try to raise awareness. And if we have to run this joker out of town, this jackleg out of town, this predator out of town, we ain't got to take a vote. Why we got to sit down and take a vote? Why would we even know? You got to go. F a vote. We are letting people stay in a position of power who should have been ejected a long time ago. And it is on your hands, the assault, the abuse, and any other fuckery that occurs from these people in power who have the audacity to teach when they need to be sitting their ass down somewhere and not only learning, but being rehabilitated. Some of you need to go to the pool of Bethesda and literally sleep in the pool, under the pool. I'm talking about under the water. You need to sleep in it for a month. You need a cleansing. The water needs to be troubled in your life, because at this point in time, if you support predators, if you support poison, and if you support anybody promoting propaganda, using the gospel and then promoting it through propaganda only to lure people in to be their next victim, then I ask you, who are you, demon? I can say something about your pastor if I want to, and you should be trying to say something about him. But only thing you're saying is keep up the bad work, pastor. Keep living your worst life. Keep living your worst life, lecturer, professor, staff member. Keep doing what you want to do, because you're a part of all of these elite organizations, and we take oath not to snitch, only to build ditches and bury people in them. That's what we do here. I have a problem with you witches in the church who sit there and allow these, to continue to stand before you and teach you little by little, crumb by crumb, drops of powdered milk. And then you get mad when somebody comes in and questions or raises awareness about the behind the scenes. Okay? It's the production that we're talking about. The production is everything. That's the only way you'll be able to execute what you're doing. So what's going on behind the scenes? Because there are victims who are feeling the pressures of whatever they are feeling in order to pass, in order to be recruited, admitted. There are various reasons, but the whole point is sex is being used by people in power in order to get what they want, in order to give other people what they think that they want. Because I'll take a F if you're trying to give me some D. Somebody daddy is at school cutting up. Somebody granddaddy at school giving out P. P for passing. Hello, somebody today. Moving forward. So here you have it, where because of the culture of this particular climate, because of the climate in the culture of sex for grades, sex scandals on college campuses, a lot of people are afraid to come out and say something. They're afraid to get out there and just vent about, what's going on. They're afraid to say, hey, look, check this out. I am a victim here. This has happened to me. They're afraid of the repercussions. And once again, the spirit of domination is always going to be used as a way to make someone be susceptible to being dominated and abused. And if I'm going to be able to whistle blow on this campus or university, just like the reputation manager spoke in that clip, he said there needs to be some type of witness protection program available for the whistleblowers, because there are some things that come along with this type of scandal. It's the shame, it's the stigma, it's the need to, educate the uneducated lecturers about boundaries, about sex, about all of these things. The lecturers need many lectures as well. They need to be students as well. I will always say, when you're teaching, you're learning. When you're learning, when you're teaching, you're also a student. Your students will teach you something if you vibrate high, if you care about them enough. There's no way any good teacher could ever stand before any student and not learn from your students. They teach you so much: compassion, humility, modesty. They teach you, they make you want to learn more. They make you want to do more so they can succeed. There is a vibration. It's a spirit of reciprocity, a righteous reciprocity that says, I've got you for 180 days. Not only that, I've got you for the rest of your life because I care about you. And I'm going to give you some tools, some nuggets. I'm going to plant some seeds so you will go out into this world, and this world will not pounce on you and prey upon you. And some of your students are already coming out of physically abusive homes, sexually abusive homes, where they are already experiencing poverty. And if they're not experiencing poverty, they're experiencing lack of spirituality in their home. They're up against it. And here you come with your bullshit because you grew up in the same environment and you're preying upon yourself. Really, some of you are actually abusing your own selves. Again, you're reliving it. It's over and over again. Your students come from various environments, and we have got to be educators, lecturers, professors who say this is a safe place. Now, I cannot rescue you from the complete danger zone, but I will do my part. I will do my part. I will stand up. I will advocate. I will go deeper in learning. I'm going to be real with you. When I taught my students, I taught English, but I really taught them social skills. That's what they need. That's what I needed when I was in school. If I would have gotten certain tools, I would have been doing different things, but I got what I got so I could be able to look, I'm okay. No complaints. But the social aspect of it, how to grow up, what's waiting for you when you get to high school, what life is, who you're going to need. These sorts. I spoke about the Most High God in school. You're not supposed to talk about religion. No, maybe you're not supposed to. I wasn't talking about religion. Religion is true religion is looking after the widow and the orphan. So learn what the definition of true religion is, and that's what the Most High God says. True religion is. I'm talking about spirituality. And I can tell these students what I want to, because I'm not telling them to smoke crack, jump in front of a jump in front of a train. I'm not telling them to jump off a bridge. I'm telling them you will need the Most High God in your life in order to survive. Otherwise, you are not going to make it. This is a spiritual walk. And I am not going to ever get in front of a group of students and not tell them like it is. I will be the light worker. I will be bold. I will encourage them. I will never, ever sit there and teach bullshit to these students only. Are you saying English is bullshit? No, I'm saying that I will never teach bullshit only. You take it how that resonates. Figure that out yourself. Grab a calculator. I will always teach what they need to know. Because you cannot sit here and throw students into this youth into this world and not equip them, train them, teach them, and provide them what they need. And when you do that, you do have some parents who get jealous because you're exposing what they're not giving them at home. That's not my fault. Step your game up. Get it together. Stop being jealous of the teacher who's investing in your student, in your child, more than you are. You gave birth to this child. This is a village. Stop getting mad at the fact that nurturing is extended. We're an extended family in the village. Getting back on task. So lecturers and professors and those that are staff on these college campuses need to be aware that there's a red line and they cannot cross it. That's why there's a suggestion of workshops to teach these lecturers who engage in these behaviors or not, that this is not the way to go and this is how you prevent it. It's the spirit of lust, okay? It's the incubus and succubus spirit. It's not healing from childhood traumas. And all of these things can be dealt with. Either you're going to change or you're not. But I know that you have a problem on your campus. The campus by itself is not the issue. The issue is who walks into the campus daily and what they walk in with. Okay? It's the you're my little secret. Some of y'all got escape as y'all professor. You're my little secret, and that's how we should keep it. Seriously, every time you walk into the room, that's what you hear. Professors and teachers just now started looking different to where they are more appealing, so to speak, but there's still codes of conduct. There's still codes of conduct. All for an A. And then this is the thing that took me down, which it didn't take me down, that brought me up, because it just confirmed what I was speaking about earlier when I had told y'all, when I was speaking about on the event session about, sending nudes and videotaping yourself and stuff like that, and videotaping sex and all of that. And in the porn industry, I spoke about it on what was that? Oh, Coming to the Stage, where I spoke about pornography and the side effects. And I talked about voyeurism. I talked about recording and revenge porn and things like that. Can you imagine recording yourself having sex with someone or whatever it is, and then it gets played for the entire university to see? That's what happened in Ghana. Sex tape was played for all to see. That is shame. That is a wake-up call. Not embarrassed that the tape was played, embarrassed that you taped yourself having it, and then being embarrassed about who you were with. These things can work for your good. It's about what are you going to do now? Now that it's out, now that it's happened, now that you've been exposed, what are you going to do now? Is the question. Okay, you did it. Now what? What does the 180 look like now? What does the U-turn look like now? How are you going to come out of the gutter now? Are you willing to address your childhood issues now that your ass was all over the college campus, projected for everybody to see? Rated R for strong content, language, and thoughts. I'm just asking, what does now look like? You slept with your college professor for the A. What does the change look like now? You don't have any regrets. What do you mean? I had to do what I had to do. We know that. But what the question is, don't deflect and don't use arrogance as a defense. What does change look like now that you have done it and you are being made aware that that was not right? That was not the right decision to make. All parties involved. Some college professors end up in relationships with their students that get out of control. And some college professors kill their students. You do know that, right? That the passion rages and turns into sexual hostility. The thought of being exposed and losing your wife and your 2 children and your tenure and your reputation at the college campus is too much for you to bear. And you're starting to feel like you might be exposed. Or you could be being blackmailed. And the blackmailing is thinning out. Your pockets are thinning out. They're anorexic at this point. Your pockets are malnourished, and the pressure is on. Either you're going to tell your wife or your student is. But you had to have it. You knew that you should have just given them the right grade. You knew that. You know that. You do know that. You're a teacher. You're smart. But this is pretty dumb. But what does your 180 look like? You've already done it now. What does the change look like internally for you? You were once in a position where this was happening. And as a result, you got caught. So now it's in your whole life, everything. The whole school knows about it. So this is your reality at this point in time. So what does 180 look like? Or are you going to stay in darkness? I'm just asking. What does getting away from these voices in your head look like? You having flashbacks? When will it end? The village can't learn from you if they're going to get burned by you. They cannot trust their brains in your hands if you're going to manipulate their brains into being your unhealed mind. Real talk. Dropping out of school, 6 years in prison, the prices, the idea of boundaries is what I'm hearing and I'm getting needs to be taught. 6 years in prison is not worth it. Let me get my hand off the mic. Excuse me. It's not worth it. Let's move forward. In conclusion of that aspect, the general consensus is that we have to safeguard the village, like the reputation manager suggested, in order to protect all parties involved. I do not condone any child being preyed upon, whether you are now a child, that is, you were the child and now you're a predator. I don't condone what happened to you. I don't condone the trauma that you endured. No one does that's in their right mind. We're not sitting here and saying it's your fault how you were traumatized as a child. We're saying it is your fault if you do not stop. We're saying it is your fault to continue in the behaviors and not seek help. If you continue to ignore the warnings, it's your fault because you're not changing and you don't look like you're going to. We're saying that childhood traumas for us all, without us being healed, can lead us all into making decisions or participating in behaviors that are not for our good. That's for all of us. Every single last one of us in the village. We all have got to vibrate higher. That is the goal. So we are not plagued by our decisions because we are not understanding, why are we doing this? Why am I like this? Some of you have blacked out and blocked out traumas that are the links to why you vibrate the way you do. Here we are. We've got the escort queen. She was luring the recruits in with sex. It was a side deal. The recruits would point out who they wanted, whoever they wanted, they would have sex with. And at Louisville, the Louisville Cardinals, that's what they were doing. They were luring the recruits. It was going on for a long time. You have Katrina Powell being the escort queen, who was the head succubus incubus energy that was providing what needed to be provided as far as the women was concerned. Andre McGee was the one who was cashing out, handling all the money, making it rain, doing everything that he was doing. In totality, from 2010 to 2014, there were 22 parties with sex acts, recruits, team members, sex acts. And these sex acts included recruits, team members, and fathers. Tell your daddy I said hi. Gosh. Yeah, I'm going to take my son. We're going to go to, it's trying to get him recruited. Again? Yeah, how many colleges does your son go to? 16 right now. Damn. No, seriously, you fathers was getting in on it too. There goes that trauma again. It's sex. Sex is kryptonite for many people. I'm just going to keep it 1,000. I'm not going to, everything, all of this has to do with sex as a weapon. So Coach Rick Pitino, the head coach, was appalled. He said, if this has happened, if this has happened, but in 4 years, there were, with the recruits, there are dancers, sex, alcohol, drugs in these parties. And Rick is saying, if this happened, then there needs to be punishment for the crime. But it's now being investigated by not only the NCA, but it's under criminal investigation. And the question is, just like Katina Powell said, it's like, seriously, Katrina or Katina, I think her name is Katrina. No, it's Katrina. Said, how could he not know? Look, Some of you fathers never made it in any sports, and you're living through your son's athletic ability. And it's not really your son on the team, it's you. It's you with that jersey on. It's you living out your unfulfilled fantasies or desires that you think you should have had and missed out on. It's you, because you still play PlayStation. You still play NBA 2K or whatever the hell. You play it. You are still a child. You're still in high school, and you're making some of you, your boys, become athletes, and some of them just weren't born to be that. That's just not who they were called to be. Not everybody. And I think that it would behoove any parent to stop putting a basketball and a football in your child's crib. That is the corniest shit I've ever seen in my life. Put the fruits of the spirit in your child's crib and watch them excel as the royal priesthood and the king that they have been called to be. Why don't you start doing that? Stop making them so tough that they end up being in pain. There's nothing wrong with shaping any of your children up and training them in the way that they should go. But do you know which way that they should go before you start training them to become an athlete, only for them to have to be recruited through sex and lured? And now here they are. All I can think about when they're playing is these parties and these energies. And that's why they're missing layups. That's why they say ouch when they catch a Nerf football. That's why they are messing up and having to do 200 push-ups because they're late to practice, because this entity, this succubus incubus thing is raging through your son. But only thing you care about is him playing for the team and making you look good. You're selfish as fuck. Some of you only show up when it's time for your child to play in sports. Some of your children have to beg you to come to games. We'll get into that in another time. What type of father are you? That here you are, and most of you, some of you, because the dynamic usually is the same or the demographic is the same. Some of you are married, but you're going to these college campuses and you're participating in these sex acts. Now it's just too much. So whatever fantasies that you have for your child, if they're not righteous, you're going to end up in a tower. And this is a tower right here for Louisville. This is what you call a tower. Exposing is what, when I say tower, I'm talking about judgment, tower. When I say tower, I'm talking about judgment within the tower. Catastrophes, calamities, exposure, people having to learn harsh lessons in realities because they would not stop after several warnings. Several warnings. It's not like boom. It's like warnings and then boom and doom. Because right here, for many of you, all they have to do is lure you with sex. Kryptonite, Superman. Superman. You do know that kryptonite is your weakness. Oh, okay. I just want you to know that because there's kryptonite in between her legs. You still gonna hit though. Shit. I'ma still hit that. You don't give a fuck. You're gonna still hit. Kryptonite. Green. You can see the color emitting in between her legs, and you still gonna put your penis in the kryptonite, and there's kryptonite in her mouth, and you still gonna put your penis in her mouth. You don't give a fuck about kryptonite, Superman. You don't care. Because you're Superman, right? You don't care that Lex Luthor is the head coach. Why would you care? You don't care. Your whole goal is to be a star, an NBA star. So the question on the table is, how many NBA stars, athletes, have been a part of a college sex scandal? Is this how you got recruited? You know, we never ever want to really get to how some people got on. What did they do to get to where they are? What was the ritual? What was the rite of passage? What was the initiation process that occurred as to why you are where you are, shining so brightly? You're shining bright, but what did you do to get here? What was there a scandal? Is it and how long has this been going on at these campuses? For years and years and years, just as long as that hazing has been going on. This is an energy, and there's more than one that rules and super rules most of these campuses. And the thing about it is, no parent in their right mind is wanting to send their child to school only to have to get a call to have to come down to the school because there's a perv on the loose. And we just gonna keep pushing because I wrote my notes. With the sexual assaults, you know, a lot of them at the HBCUs don't make the news often. But the ones that do make the news, they stand out. And it was spoken that on Howard University's campus that it is believed that sexual assault is prevalent on this campus. So I just need to ask you, Howard University, you know, it is wonderful that we all like to talk about going to a historically black college or university and, you know, the premise. But I am really starting to question a lot of if you all are actually checking your foundations on which you stand on. Because if this is prevalent on your campus, but in HBCUs, sexual assaults don't make the news often, then my question is to you, who is dealing with the sexual assaults on the campus if anybody is outing the predator? And how could you, even if you are not aware of it, being the staff worker that you are or the powers that be, how could it be that you do not gather all of the students or at least put out some type of newsletter or have some type of intercom system or some type of website set up where you as the dean or the head of whoever you are the head of make an announcement and raise the awareness about the assault and let them know that there is zero tolerance, that you will be sanctioned immediately and you will not have an opportunity to seek your degree anywhere, that you'll be banished from the education system as in totality if this is what you do. Somebody has to be the example. So I'm asking, even if this is not something that you're aware of, prevention is the best medicine. So there is no excuse. What does your 180 look like from here on out, Howard University, as how you're going to deal with the prevalent amount of sexual assaults that take place on your campus? Because I don't think you should have any more step shows or any other type of anything else until you deal with this, because this right here is not okay. Or are you also the victim of a sexual assault and you never did anything about it, and that's why you won't do anything about it for the other people on the campus and make it safe for both the men and the women, because you were not healed in your traumatic situation, and so now you're bitter and you're going to let everybody get a taste of what you got a taste of when you were a student. I'm asking, where are you today in your mind with this situation, and why is it prevalent on your campus, sexual assault? That does mean that the incubus and succubus energy are teaching at your campus, that they run your campus. I don't care if it's 1%, 1 out of 2,000, 2 out of 1,000. I don't care what the statistics are. These statistics right here are all the way off because there's more students that are being assaulted on your campuses, and a lot of you are sweeping it under the rug because some of you are the predators. There's a lot of hush money going around, but there's nothing that can hush this right here. There's no amount of money. This right here is what some of these victims are experiencing. They can't even sleep at night. They're being haunted by your touch, your kiss, the feel of your genitalia, having been skeeted on, being a part of a sex, being a part of an orgy, having to put themselves on the line, having to deal with somebody pinching their bottom, trying to kiss them, telling them that they need dick. Can you imagine another man telling another man that what you need is dick? Ooh, we are finna get into it right now. Jesus, be a fence all around me. How the fuck does another man tell another man that what he needs is dick? How? He already has a dick. He's a man. So how would he need dick when he has one? You saying he needs an extra dick? And so would that extra dick be your dick? Don't you know, as a man, you're not supposed to be out here passing around your dick to other men? You do know that, right? You're not even supposed to be passing your dick around to other women. You do know that, right? In a malicious manner to women. But you are to engage with a woman with your dick. So how would you be offering your dick to another man? That's not the right person who you're supposed to be offering your dick to. Nobody wants your dick. And the fact that you're trying to give your dick away, the question on the table is, what's wrong with your dick? I'm just using your words, dick man. You are dick man. Dick male, dick man. You send nudes. I know you do. I already know you do. You violate people. You're overly aggressive because you were abused, more than likely, by a man. And you didn't heal. That's why you're perving out on this young man who is dealing with depression. DeMarcus Cruz, the Morehouse incident. Yeah, your victim, who we pray will survive, he had to call his mom and daddy to come down. He reported it to Title IX, but Title IX didn't do anything. And what's this demon's name? Terrain Bailey. You suck. You suck as a woman. In this very moment, I can't even call you a woman. You're a female until you do the 180. I'm so livid with our people protecting the predator. And something needs to be done about it. Hugging on him, trying to test the waters, trying to feel him out, look him in his eyes. You know, there are these codes that men do when they're on the down low. There's these things that men do to promote or to try to feel another man out. First of all, they look them in their eyes. And they look them in their right eye and their left eye. They give them a scan. And then they shake their hand. And then it's in a touch. There's an exchange that goes on to see if they're a part of the underworld. Yeah, I'm exposing you because you're disgusting. I don't play that shit. You over here a predator on the down low, and you know that you really like men, but you fuck with women, but you use women, and women have no idea, and you're all up in this sauce. I don't play with you. I don't play any games with you. Your energy is off. That's why you do what you do. Just in case you one day want to search for answers and want to come out of that vibration. So at the beginning of the day, another man telling another man that what he needs is some dick is incorrect information. And that's the wrong panacea. And I want every man to hear this when I say that's not what you need. What you need is to heal from the imbalance and the childhood trauma. Because what you need is vagina. God said so. And I want to see you argue with God. I want to see you actually try to contend with what God says you need. You know how I know that what you need is vagina, my brother? Because you have a penis. You know how I know that I need keenness? It's because I have a vagina. Sex education. Admissions of guilt. Sex scandals on college campuses. We'll be right back after this commercial break. I don't care. I deliver the mail, and I will tell it like it is. You cannot argue with the sword of truth. You can only receive it and either do one or two things. Either you will stay the same or you will change. I'm advocating for the victims, not the villains. I only advocate that the villains change their behavior. Now, what do you stand for? We'll be right back after this commercial break. You just took playing That's My Car to a whole nother level. The latest episode of the Tour on the Sister Speak show is available on demand now. Rated R for strong content, language, and thoughts. On this episode, jacking for more than beats, the effects of GTA and rap music, confessing to crimes over beats, lyrics leading to arrest. On the tour, we're covering all aspects of the music industry, including interviews with musicians, managers, songwriters, producers, music groups, DJs, and exclusive music and concert reviews. Either you're playing the video game or the video game is playing you. Click the link for the latest episode on the Sister Speak show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Be careful. Brotherhood, sisterhood, leadership. Those are the qualities that you were looking for when you were joining, not humiliation. The latest episode of The Culture Climate on the Sister Speak show is available on demand now. Rated R for strong content, language, and thoughts. On this episode, death before degree, hazing in fraternities and sororities. On The Culture Climate, we're covering what others are afraid to cover in the village, including controversial conversations, taboo subject matters, addressing the inner me's, exposing the enemies, interviews, audio from video clips, international, national, local news affecting the village. Click the link for the latest episode on the Sister Speak show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action, a talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Remember, you don't have to die to belong. Be encouraged. Welcome back. You are listening to The Culture Climate on the Sister Speak show. I'm your host, Sister Speak. Now, let me say something. Sister Speak, you're always saying something. That's why they call me Sister Speak. No organization will pump fear into me or into any light worker. You don't have the power. You don't super rule. You don't have the right to dominate wrong and let wrong be what permeates the atmosphere. Society, you are the head of all these organizations, this main principality that promotes suggestions and influences and ways to vibrate low. And then what you expect people to do is conform to your wicked ways. It's almost like this maneuver where you pin us to the ground and you're expecting the referee to go 1, 2, 3, and that we're going to submit to your chokehold or to any other vibrations that you put out here. What you're asking us to do is to forsake who our super ruler is, who our Messiah is, and to get like you. What you're saying is, don't change, don't come out of low vibrating behaviors, stay the way that you are. It's all love. You know, we use this love word in a way that is so abusive. Stop that shit. It's lust. Don't you ever say that you have the right to love who you want to love. That's not a true statement. No, what your statements are showing us, that's not love that you're showing us. What you're saying is you have a right to lust after who you want to lust after. You have a right to do what you want to do when you want to do it. That's what you're saying. But you use love as the coding over what you're doing, and you cannot do that. If you put icing over rocks, you don't have a rock cake. You have rocks with icing on it. And the rock is still going to be there. You cannot eat it. It's still there. So you can put whatever you want to, but at the beginning of the day, the issues that plague us, that are in that society promotes as an influence and a way to be, are in our village. They plague our village. They plague our decision making, and they have a way of separating and dividing us from how we're supposed to be as a village. And you're asking me to forsake what super rules and to go ahead and vibe with your principality, and I won't do it. I will not ever understand to any organization that promotes wicked intentions, wicked behaviors, that subliminally suggests and projects low vibrating behaviors to my people. You're asking me to forsake what I just got out of. What do you mean by that? I too have been in low vibrating behaviors. This is how I have developed. I have come out of things. I may not have done what you've done, but we have done things. And I have learned from the things that I have done. And I know what a lot of the genesis of it comes from. But certain groups like to bully you into letting them be how they are. But how you are is plaguing and weakening our village. So you're never gonna make me say that it is okay for a man to offer another man dick. You will never fucking be able to get me to say that shit. My job is to get you not to say it. My job is to say your decision and your vibe and the energy comes from a traumatic place, and that it is eating you alive, and that I want you to function how you were created to function, in spirit and truth. And I want you to receive the benefits of being a man. I want you to receive the benefits of being a woman. I want you to have great mental health. I want your energies to be balanced. I don't want us to walk around carrying generation after generation sex scandals, sexual abuse, and all those other type of energies for our whole lives. And to the organizations who bully other people and try to stop people's money, food, whatever you try to do, you don't super rule. The head of all principalities is the Most High God. You don't super rule. Let me speak it to you like it fucking is. You don't super rule. You don't run shit. The little bit of power that you have, you don't super rule. You're not almighty. You're not mighty in battle. You don't sit high and look low. You don't have all power in your hands. You can't do anything that the Most High God can do. Only very little bit of mimicking, and we saw that in Exodus with the magicians. But at the beginning of the day, you don't have the power that you think you have. And for those who think that they have the power, those are the ones who you dominate. Those are the ones who you seek after. Those are the ones that you prey upon. Those are the ones who you open up their wounds even further. It's you, not the light workers. You have a problem with the truth that I am saying, and others are saying that as a man, you don't need to be offering another man your penis and saying that that's what he needs to cheer up his day. No, that's what I need to cheer up my day. If you want to get gully for a second. Rated R for strong content and language. No, brother. You're supposed to offer me the penis. a woman the penis. Don't you hear what I'm saying? Nah. Right offer, wrong gender. You're supposed to offer that to a woman. A woman knows what to do with that. Obviously. And I'm talking about righteously. I'm talking about divinely. I will never understand why in sports you all pat each other on the bottom to say good job. Is that not sexual assault? Is that not touching? What is that? What is that about? Oh, no, you're going too far. No, I'm not going too far. Why are you patting another man on his bottom to say good job? What's wrong with giving him a dap? I mean, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Like, a dap. Or we just be playing slap ass in the shower and stuff. I bet you do. Dick man. There's a lot of dick men's out there. I'm just saying, when will we hit pause? Is the question. When we gonna hit pause? When are we gonna hit pause, brothers and sisters? When are we going to hit pause? The sister who was sexually assaulted at Howard University, who chose to remain anonymous, was in shock. But I also picked up, she has the spirit of, excuse me for the microphone bumping, the spirit of, she's been dominated before. And she sounded like she's just looking for somebody to give her attention. And I based that on her saying she doesn't think he probably knew the magnitude of what he was doing, and she doesn't think he's a bad person. Baby girl, what happened to you was wrong. And he was wrong. And you have got to get help so you will know that what he did was bad. And in that act, he was a bad person. And that he knew the magnitude of what he was doing because he took you by force. I don't think you understood the magnitude of what he was doing. And I know you don't want to get him in trouble. And you're afraid of the backlash. But the backlash inside of your mind is what we're talking about. You know that this is troubling you. But you're looking for love in all the wrong places, more than likely. This is not your fault. What I would like to say is there any way that you could pull back from feeling the need to have that void filled by allowing bodies to come in and out of you? If that is your vibe, I'm not saying that you are promiscuous. I'm just saying that you're going to keep looking for love in all the wrong places if you think that when they're doing this, that they're not a bad person. Because when I hear that, it takes me to believing that you might have been assaulted as a child. And that you are used to making up excuses because that's what you have been coerced to do or even threatened into having to do. That maybe your aggressive, the person who was aggressive towards you in a sexual nature possibly would have, might have been a family member, and that's why you are thinking that this guy right here is not a bad person, because really you're still reliving the first assault, and now it's following you to school, and it's going to keep following you. The spirit is following you because you're not healing from it. And this man who took advantage of this other student who took advantage of you, he's dealing with some issues as well that stem from childhood. Do we need to stop teaching all this other shit and start teaching sex ed only? Stop saying that these subjects are shit. You heard what I said, do we? Because right now I can't think about trigonometry when my brothers and my sisters are being sexually assaulted on college campuses or being lured in and baited in by sex in order to be recruited. There's a problem. So I'm not thinking about anything else, but should we just now stop and teach sex ed and stop playing around? Okay, Hinesville County, you're up next. Kenneth Howard provided prostitutes for 6 men at Fort Valley State. He's now being convicted of pimping and pandering. And then we have Alicia Johnson, who was a staff member who also provided prostitution, and she also offered to perform in the sex acts as well. There is also the charges for her of a conspiracy to commit Confuciary theft, which is basically by stealing scholarship money. I think it's about who are we giving this power to? And it's about filling positions. And it's about hitting a crossroads. Going to school to get a degree, a diploma, going to college or a university to get your diploma should be just that. But in these episodes that I have been covering, we're seeing that there are things going on underneath the school and in the attic of the school, in the basement and the attic of the school. And in the basement and the attic of the school are the secrets. It's the mask unveiled. And no one ever, I believe, says that I'm going to go to school and encounter whatever these incidents are. But you have encountered them, and there are predators lying in wait at these schools. It's obvious. And see, the pressure to go to college and the pressure to be the best and the pressure to overachieve and meet the standards, and you have all these statistics that say that because of your white counterparts that you have to do this and you have to do this 10 times harder and all this, societal babble, and for some people facts, it really puts you in a bind, because I'm not going to school to have to give fellatio to not get an F. And energies are real. Spiritual warfare is real. And I am seeking an education, and others are seeking education to better themselves. And we all come with whatever the balance or imbalance is in our life. And when you meet other energies that have that same balance or imbalance, here comes the war, the scandal, the pressure, the secrets, the hush money. You can never justify why tuition exists. Because after this episode, I am convinced that college should be free. Universities should be free. I am convinced that no college should operate if they do not have free counseling sessions available for all students, and that there should be a thorough background check on all staff members. Now, that's in a world where I guess maybe there are cotton candy for clouds, because the scandals start at the top. They start at the head. Oh, no. That doesn't mean that they won't be dealt with. It means that the head of the principality is now coming for you. It's now time for your report card. It's now time for your progress report to be exposed. It is now time for us to go into your backpack and pull out all of the missing work. It is now time that the Most High God, who super rules, come into, that's my co-host, my neighbor, come into your college campus and your universities and hand out detention. It's time for you to get the checks by your name. I am so tired of niggas posing in positions of power with all of these accolades, but you still ain't shit. I've never understood no, let me start over. Let me say this. Incubus and succubus run a lot. And it's sad to say that field slaves still exist. My people have a problem with acting like the colonizer. And I'm starting to understand that some of you are here to assassinate us in the village. And you're almost like informants. It's almost like you took an oath to destroy the foundations of education and learning and wisdom. If someone has dropped out of school because you pulled your penis out and said it's either, in order to pass, you have to touch my penis or you will fail, and they have now dropped out of school, you know that blood is on your hands, right? Or at least on your grade book. It just comes a time where you have to sit back and watch those towers hit. I'm appalled. I am. Because I don't do well with being sexually traumatized as a child and having to grow up and make decisions that create problems for other people or just in general for yourself. And I see us being plagued by it because we don't have enough education and we're not healing. And sex is a bullet. It's a weapon. That sex is being used as a weapon. And there are young men and young women who are being assaulted or in a relationship with their professor because they are afraid that they will fail because that's the threat. And they're being dominated. And there are young boys who will grow up and then end up in orgies just to play hoop. I can tell you why your team doesn't do well. Now I'm starting to get it. Some of your teams don't make it to the NCAA or don't do well when it comes to scoring is because they are drained sexually. They have an ulterior and a lifestyle that is not conducive with performing at their highest ability and level and capacity as an athlete. And it's because some of them don't want to participate in the sexcapades, but they don't want to be seen as a square. And then some of you head coaches just say that you don't have any idea what's going on, but you do. The fuck? You do. I'm not here for that. You know what's going on. At the beginning of the day, sex education is something that we all need. And self-control is our friend. It takes a lot to come out of the aspect of vibing a certain way. I understand. It takes a lot to open your mouth and say, I've been sexually assaulted. To say no. Get off me. I don't want to. You're paralyzed with fear. Dominated. Some of you have flashbacks when it first happened to you. That's why you let him touch you. I know. I know you didn't want to. I know you didn't. And it's okay now. Because you're going to do the healing and the clearing. And you're going to have to tell. You have to tell somebody who you trust, who you feel comfortable with. You need to expose this. Do not let them get a pass. And when I say expose, take it to the Most High God, even though he already knows. But you're going to have to go to the Lord in prayer. And he will take care of it. But if you are the predator and you have done this before, and you now know that what you've done is wrong and that was an abuse of power, you genuinely know that that's not how you were going to ever operate again, and that you really do value your job as a lecturer or a counselor or whomever you are as a staff member at a college or a university, you now want to change. You may. We all give you permission to change. And congratulations on wanting to change. Yeah, there are victims. But at least you want to come out of it. I want you to consider your family, yourself, and is it worth it to get an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F? Is it worth it to overachieve? Is it worth it to have an inappropriate relationship because you think you can? Are you willing to have sex and not know that there's a videotape or somebody watching you and have it played before the whole school? No, you're not. To you sisters that like to round up other sisters to go out and have sex, you madams, you escort queens, your roots are showing. Now, I ain't talking about your fake hair. I'm talking about the root of all evil, the love of money. Your roots are showing. There's a heavy price. There is a heavy price to pay if you're going to continue gathering up women, being a part of a ring for fucking what? At the beginning of the day, for what? Money, purses, trips, food. Then what? Lame as fuck. That's hella lame. There has to be something else that motivates my people besides fucking money, purses, shoes, cars, and all this other shit. There has to be something else of substance that fucking rules us. Excuse my language. Never mind. Rated R for strong content and language. We need to acquire a taste for healing. Because all this other succubus and incubus stuff is not appealing. It's only revealing. And it eats inside of you. It's chemical peeling. And some of you end up cat peeling. never dealing, just squilling. It's the pain. What did you gain? Every time you do it, you go insane. And you like being lame? You need a new name. There's something wrong with your brain. You need to be tamed. It's roaring inside of you. And that's a fact. Every time you do it, you pull yourself back. How can you go forward if you stay stuck? Because the only thing on your mind is to fuck. I just freestyled that whole thing. And I meant everything that I just said. Before you get ready to fill out that scholarship, before you get ready to go and join any college, campus, or university, I need you to do your due diligence. And when you go, I would like for you to please, before you go, I need you to get into some self-defense classes. I need you to practice saying no loudly. I need you to be able to walk away from danger. I need you to be able to not go to all the parties just to be seen. You need to have a strategy when you enter so you can exit. There should be no death before degree, and there should be no admissions of guilt. No sex scandals. You've been a wonderful listening audience. Tonight's episode, Sex Education. Admissions of guilt. Sex scandals on college campuses. Brought to you by The Culture Climate on the Sister Speak Show. The Culture Climate, covering what others are afraid to cover in the village. Controversial conversations, taboo subject matters, dealing with the enemies, exposing the enemies. Local, national, international news clips concerning all shades of brown people in the village. I do not apologize for anything that I have said this evening. I meant, this is not this evening. To be quite frank, it is 2:57 p.m. I don't apologize for anything that I have said. It was the truth. It was a sword. You can be in your feelings all you want to. You can have a whole Ellie Maj temper tantrum. I don't give a damn. We advocate for our people in the village. We're light workers. Some of the assignments that we get, I be like, I got to talk about what? Okay. No problem. No problem, because I am here to please you, Most High God. I'm tired of pleasing people. That has gotten me nowhere. Every time I try to please people, I end up delaying my walk. You've been a wonderful listening audience. I thank you so much for vibing with me this afternoon at now 2:58. It's going to be a wonderful day. It's going to be a wonderful week. I want you to be encouraged. I want you to hold on. And I want you to do that 180. You know what you need to do a 180 on in your life, right? You know what it is that you need. And I want you to not put more pressure on yourself to achieve than you need to. Some of you are not counting how successful you already are. That does not mean that you have to stop. But I want you to pull back on being an overachiever, because I don't want you to be susceptible to the by any means necessary to get through college, okay, or a university. Your life is precious, and we need you in the village. You have a right to report any crime that is done to you, no matter who the person is. You are to fear no man. The Most High God super rules. Come out of the spirit of domination and fear and being intimidated. Release the childhood traumas. Heal from them. Learn from them and vibrate higher. You cannot stay in the cocoon forever. The Lord didn't create you for you to be abused. Learning doesn't hurt. Learning doesn't hurt. It doesn't hinder and it doesn't harm. It doesn't hold back. It nurtures. To all staff members on every single college campus in all shades of brown, you are failing. You're not passing. You are acting as if you are developmentally delayed, disabled. You are showing signs of missing parts of your brain. You are showing signs that you really are not as educated as you have led all parties to believe. We see no reflection of who you project to be. All shades of brown people in the village must look after one another. So when a child comes before the elder is to teach, to train, because the child needs to learn. Final question. What have you learned? Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. Say it with me, y'all. My God, my rock, in whom I take refuge. My shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. I return to sender all negative, demonic, satanic energy. I banish it. I reverse it. I don't receive it. It has an immediate adverse effect in your bosom, 20-fold. No weapon formed against me or my listening audience shall prosper. I'm divinely protected, and so is my listening audience. Until we speak again, brothers and sisters, you have a wonderful, wonderful journey.